A pound of ground beef runs $6 and change this week, and I watched a young man put one back like it bit him. Now listen here. My mother fed 7 people off 1 pound, 8 plates on a good Sunday, and nobody left her table hungry. I am Mrs. Doris. I stood behind a school lunch line in Scioto County, Ohio for 35 years, 400 kids a day on $1.05 a tray. And half of what I know about stretching beef, I learned at my mother's elbow in the 1970s. Tonight, 15 ground beef suppers America forgot. Number 12 is a casserole named after a wreck. Number 7 is the fake steak that saved anniversary dinners. And number 1 got ruined by a tin tray. Hit subscribe, grab a tray. We are counting down from 15. Number 15, the beef and macaroni skillet. Before Hamburger Helper showed up in 1971, every mother on our street already made it. 1 pound of ground beef, 2 cups of elbow macaroni, a can of tomatoes, 1 chopped onion, a bouillon cube. That was it. That was the whole shopping list. If this looks like the goulash from my first video, it is, the weeknight cousin. And here is the trick I did not give you then. Crush the bouillon cube dry over the beef while it browns. The cube seasons the fat, and the fat seasons every noodle after it. Macaroni goes in dry with 2 cups of water, lid on. Lift it early and you will be chewing gravel at 6 o'clock. The box did not invent this supper. The box invented the price. Still about $2.50 a plate today. Try that in a drive-through. Number 14 is the one Minnesota thinks it owns. Number 14, tater tot casserole. Minnesota calls it hot dish and will fight you over it. In Scioto County, it just had a waiting list at every church carry-in. Ground beef in the bottom of a 9x13, a can of cream of mushrooms stirred through, and frozen tater tots standing on top in rows like little soldiers. Ore-Ida invented tots in 1953 out of potato scraps. Thrift twice over in 1 pan. 40 minutes at $3.50. A bag of tots ran about 40 cents in 1975, and the whole pan fed 6 for under $2. About $8 today, still the cheapest thing wearing a crust. Your fork cracks through that toasted roof, and the steam comes up at you. Do not thaw the tots first or you lose the crunch. Cooking for 1 or 2? Bake half, freeze half. The second pan tastes better. Number 13 fixed the oldest problem meatloaf ever had, the clock. Number 13, meatloaf muffins. Same meatloaf your mother made, beef, egg, oats, chopped onion, but pressed into a muffin tin instead of a loaf pan. 25 minutes instead of an hour. A mother with a shift and 3 kids did not have an hour. Brush the tops with ketchup mixed with a spoon of brown sugar, and they come out lacquered like furniture, the kitchen smelling of sweet ketchup. A loaf goes stale before 1 person finishes it. Muffins, 2 tonight, the rest in the freezer, wrapped and dated. You know my rule. Beef ran $1 a pound in 1975. 30 cents a plate then, about $1 now. 6 more suppers from 1 pound. A muffin tin is a diet book with 12 pages. By the way, that trick, 6 suppers from 1 pound, I have a whole book of those. 35 years of stretchers that fed 400 kids on $1 a tray, written down in one place. The lunch lady's $3,600 a year grocery cut. It is at dorysllunchlady.com. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link below the video to get your copy. That is the only time I will bring it up. All right, back to the line. Number 12, chipwreck casserole, the one I promised. A casserole named after a wreck. I have heard 3 stories about the name, and I do not believe one of them. Ground beef, a can of vegetables, a packet of onion soup mix, and then a whole bag of potato chips crushed fine over the top. It lived in the mimeographed church cookbooks and showed up at every funeral, supper, and potluck in our county. The whole casserole ran under $2 in 1976 and fed 8. The chips are the trick. Salt and crunch over soft and savory. Chips go on in the last 15 minutes, or they drown. When did you last see a chipwreck on a table? That is what forgotten means. Somebody's grandmother is the only thing standing between this dish and the grave. Number 11 is the supper my brothers used to count. Number 11. Porcupine meatballs. Beef and raw rice rolled into balls, simmered slow in tomato soup. And as they cook, the rice swells and pokes out in little spikes. The kids named it, and the name did half the selling. A can of tomato soup cost a dime in the early 70s, and the rice does the quiet work. 1 pound becomes 2 dozen meatballs. Regular long grain uncooked. Instant turns to paste. Lid on, low heat, 45 minutes. These fed PTA suppers and church basements all over Ohio. My brother Dale used to count the spikes. 22 was the record. Supper and entertainment, 1 skillet, under $1. Number 10 is a whole week of suppers hiding in 1 pot. Number 10, hamburger soup. 1 pound browned in your biggest pot, then carrots, celery, onion, a can of tomatoes, water, and a handful of barley. A full stock pot, 12 bowls. Barley is the secret. It swells 3 times over, turns the broth silky, and costs pennies. Brown the beef hard first. Gray beef makes gray soup. My mother, Irene, made this every Friday in the fall after ball games, and the second day pot was always better. Everything makes its peace overnight. It freezes flat in bags like I showed you last time. 4 Tuesday suppers waiting. Stir from the bottom. Trouble lives on the bottom. April of 1973, beef prices had jumped so hard, so fast, that housewives across this country did something nobody expected. They went on strike. A meat boycott, 1 week, coast to coast. My mother kept us out of the beef aisle with them. Short weeks at the shoe factory made the choice easy, and our table barely changed. The macaroni skillet, the porcupine balls, the soup pot, built for exactly this. That week, the whole country learned what my mother always knew. The pound was never the supper. The stretch was the supper. Stay with me because number 7 fooled a man who ordered steak in restaurants. Number 9, the beef and cabbage skillet. 1/2 pound of beef and a whole head of cabbage fed 5 people. Cabbage ran 15 cents a pound in the mid-70s, and it is still the cheapest thing in the produce aisle. Brown the beef, push it aside, let the cabbage catch a little color in the drippings. Browned cabbage turns sweet. Boiled cabbage turns the whole house against you. Finish with a little vinegar to wake the pan up. Every family on our street had a version. Cousin to the haluski I showed you a while back, with beef doing the talking. It came off the electric skillet that never got put away, and it never apologized. Honest is better than fancy. Number 8 is what you cooked when company was coming and money was not. Number 8, beef stuffed peppers, the company supper. When somebody worth impressing came to eat, out came the stuffed peppers because they look like effort. Have them, boil 3 minutes, then fill. Browned beef, cooked rice, tomato sauce, whatever cheese the icebox held. Bake until the tops blister. The arithmetic nobody said out loud, the pepper is the plate. A pound of beef and 4 peppers feeds 8 halves, company portions, pennies each. They reheat one at a time. Supper tonight, 3 more nights covered. Peppers were a dime apiece then, and the dish still looks like you tried harder than you did. Number 7 is the closest a pound of ground beef ever came to wearing a suit. Number 7, mock prime rib patties, the fake steak. A prime rib supper out cost close to a week's grocery money in 1974. So the mothers built one at home. Shape the beef thick, twice a burger, sear it hard in dry cast iron, then finish it in mushroom soup with a splash of cooking wine. Knife and fork, no bun. The bun makes it a burger. The plate makes it an occasion. I will be honest about the old trick, a drop of liquid smoke in the meat. It is real hickory smoke caught in a bottle of water, and 2 drops put a steakhouse in the pan. I have watched a man who ate in restaurants ask what cut it was. Anniversaries, birthdays, payday Fridays. Nobody at that table was pretending. They were providing, and there is a difference. Walk the middle aisles and look at what the boxes contain. Noodles, a spice packet, cornstarch, salt, things your cupboard already holds. In 1971, they figured out you would pay extra for the word helper, not for the food, for the permission. And I am not blaming the working mother who bought the box. Her hours were arithmetic too. It is not your fault the store sells your own pantry back to you. But there is no money in a pound of beef stretched with cabbage. Nobody advertises it, so it disappeared. These suppers were forgotten for the oldest reason there is. Free does not buy advertising. Stay with me. The last 4 include the one my whole county has truly forgotten. Number 6, the beef and biscuit ring. The showpiece. You popped a tube of Pillsbury biscuits on the counter edge. That crack was the sound of company coming, and laid them in an overlapping ring. Seasoned beef in the middle, a little cheese, fold and bake until it shines. Half an hour in the oven, your hands done in 15. The tube cost 33 cents in 1974. The whole ring fed 6 for under $2. It came to the table looking like a magazine spread, and the cook let everyone believe it took all afternoon. That was not deception. That was presentation, and presentation was free. Kids fought over the corner pieces, and a ring has no corners. That is how good it looked. Number 5, you eat with a spoon, and your grandmother would know why. Number 5, hamburger spoon bread casserole. My mother's people were from Greenup County, Kentucky, right across the river, and her mother served spoon bread as the Sunday side. The 70s put a pound of browned beef and onions under it and made the side dish carry supper. Pour the batter, cornmeal, milk, eggs, over the hot beef, and it bakes into a golden lid you serve with a spoon, not a knife. If your people came up from Kentucky or Virginia, somebody made this, and I would bet you have not seen it in 40 years. 1 pound of beef, a cup of cornmeal, supper for 6, and I will say it plain, it is kind to older teeth and no shame in that. Number 4 went from a corn husk to your mother's Pyrex. Number 4, beef tamale pie. Spiced beef, corn, and tomatoes on the bottom, cornmeal batter on top, baked until the edges bubble. Tamales are wrapped suppers older than the flag. The name just means wrapped food, but the pie version came to me on a recipe card at a church swap in 1981, spelled 3 different ways in the same box. Chili powder and cumin in the beef. Go gentle if your crowd is gentle. The cornmeal top drinks up the spice juices, and the stripe where they meet is the best bite in the pan. It fed 4 for about $3 in the mid-70s. It is still one of the cheapest suppers I know, and it freezes like it was designed for it. Number 3 is where the broken spaghetti went to die. Number 3, rag mop casserole, the one my whole county has truly forgotten. Every kitchen had the jar, the ends of the spaghetti box, the last handful of elbows, the bow ties nobody remembered buying. Rag mop casserole is where the jar went. The broken shapes boiled together, folded into beef, tomatoes, and cream of mushroom, baked until the edges crisp. The name is how it looked on the spoon. Strands every which way, like the business end of a rag mop. It was never in a magazine or on a menu. It was 3 almost empty boxes becoming supper instead of trash. Same religion as my scrap bag, different shelf. We did not waste a thing, and this dish is what not wasting tasted like. Salty, saucy, crisp at the corners, and gone by 7 o'clock. I will tell on myself before somebody else does. 1984, beef budget cut again, and I got greedy with the oats. Pushed the meatloaf mix for 400 kids past half filler. Every loaf in that oven collapsed into crumbles. There is a floor, and I had found it. Stretch past half, and the beef stops being the glue. Ruby picked up the chalk and wrote Beef Crumble Supreme on the menu board, and we ladled it over mashed potatoes like we had planned it all week. The kids asked for it again. 2 lessons, both paid for. The stretch has a limit, and a mistake served with confidence is called a recipe. Stay with me. 2 left, and the last one deserves an apology from an entire industry. Number 2, homemade sloppy joes. Now we are in my house. I made sloppy joes for 400 children, never once from the can, though Manwich had been on shelves since 1969. The line made it from scratch. Browned beef, ketchup, a squeeze of mustard, a heaped spoonful of brown sugar, a shake of Worcestershire, and patience. The mistake is serving it wet. Simmer until a dragged spoon leaves a trail that holds 1 second. Then it sits on the bun instead of sinking through it. We made it in the kettle, held it in hotel pans on the steam table, and lined the buns up in rows of 20. The smell went down the hallway ahead of the bell. I have seen a child close his eyes over one. School beef was 99 cents a pound on our invoices. A pound makes 8 joes, then and now, $1 a joe today. You can buy the can if you want, but the pan takes 11 minutes, and the pan remembers you. And then there is number 1. Bring a knife and fork. Number 1, Salisbury steak. Number 1, and this one got robbed. Salisbury steak is named for Dr. James Salisbury, who prescribed minced beef to patients in the 1800s. The real thing is simple and serious. Beef patties shaped like small steaks, pan-fried in cast iron. And do not skip this. The gravy built in the same pan, from drippings and browned onions, so the pan gives back everything the meat left. Then the frozen dinner came along, dropped a gray puck in a tin tray next to freezer-burned peas, and stole the name. A whole generation grew up thinking Salisbury steak was a punishment. On my line, it was steak day. Some of the kids believed it was steak, and I never corrected a single one. Make the real one this week. Give the name back its dignity. Homework. and I grade easy. One supper off this list before Sunday, just one. I made the macaroni skillet Tuesday, $4.40, and I ate off it twice. Porcupine meatballs or Salisbury steak, which was on your mother's table and what county? I read every one with my coffee. The winner gets the next video. Next week, the skillet drawer. 1 pan, no oven, supper for 6. Subscribe so you do not miss it.